No, thank you. Sleepy. Come back in an hour. Need sleepy. Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God!
It's now time for the Billy C. Morning Show, part of the Billy C. Boxing Network. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
Good morning. We're coming to you live from the Billy C. Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C. Morning Show. Hope everybody's doing fantabulous today. Today's show is being brought to you in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located in beautiful St. Simons Island, Georgia. Listen, man, check out this food. It's good. Everything in it. Even the water is good. Even if you get a glass of water, it's good. You got to check it out. See what I'm talking about. Visit the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. You know, I met this really cute girl, Molly, if you're watching. Hey, Molly. And she's actually going to be going to school down in the state of Georgia. And I started talking to her about Sal's, and she said, you know, I heard of Sal's place. And she's from upstate New York. And I said, well, make sure you stop in, tell him Billy C. sent you, and demand a cannoli. And she's going to. So Sal will be getting... well, he'll be getting a treat because she's a looker. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by JKJ Boxing Magazine. And the new issue is out now. Get yourself a copy. Visit our web... Oh, did I tell you they're for free? Check it out. My website, www.billycboxing.com. JKJ Boxing Magazine banner is on the right-hand side. Click it. Subscribe today. And... hang tight because if you win today's trivia question, I'll send you one. You know, yeah, I know they're free, but you can download them for free, but you got to pay postage. I'll pay the postage. I'll send it to you. So check that out. And today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux from Bondage, The Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now, where all good books are sold, and you can get a copy of it right now by visiting BarnesandNoble.com. or Amazon.com. Now, if you're looking to get a signed copy, visit our website, www.billycboxing.com. Click on the book club section. Find out why we got a 5-star rating across the board. And FYI, it ain't just for boxing fans, man. Everybody should read this book. It's a story of a freed slave. Actually, it's a story of a slave who fought for his freedom and became the most recognized American on the planet during his life. And hey, listen, it's good for boxing fans. It's a piece of history, a piece of American history, a piece of black history. It's a great read. Check it out and help my cause, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you get the book. Today's Friday, and what that means is it's a fan-driven Friday. Don't call yet. We'll open up the phone lines in a little bit. I also want to talk a little about the big announcement that Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward, it's going to be happening in Las Vegas on November 19th, a fight that we all want. This is all assuming they both get by their next fights, which I don't think either one is going to have any problem with. And joining me right now, my man, Sal Rocky Senecola. What's up, Sal?
Billy, good morning. I'll tell you, you roll that tongue, pal.
I'm getting good.
That's great.
Good. Yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. You know, hey, we forgot to wish Roberto Duran a happy birthday. Yesterday he turned 65, man. I mean,
I can't believe it. If he's in the United States, he's collecting Social Security, but I don't know if he's doing that.
Let me tell you, he looks great. I saw him
65.
65. He doesn't have a gray hair on his head. I mean, he really doesn't. And he's got every single hair. I mean, something I can't say. I got grays, and I'm getting a little thin. I'm getting a little thin on the top, you know. But anyway, Sal, it's a big fight coming up between Kovalev and Ward. It's a fight that's good for the sport. It's a fight that puts two top fighters against each other. It's a fight the fans wanted, and I'm happy. I'm happy it's happening this year. My only knock is, why does it take so long today to make these big fights? I mean, listen, they didn't just make great big fights years ago either, but nowadays it takes years, not months, to make a big fight, even after the interest level is there. Well, why is it taking so long?
I guess there's just so much with the minutia of bringing something together like that. Whoa.
Minutia? Is that like a color? Is that a color? Is that a flower?
That word too?
I don't know.
These dummy cards in front of me.
Listen, what the hell what is minutia? I never heard that word. Is it a real word? I'm serious. I'm not the smart. I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box, man. Minutia. What? Give me
a up. I did.
A minutia. Oh, okay, I'm good. I'm good with that, man. I'm good with it. Go ahead, finish, Mr. Minutia.
Okay, the minutia of the whole game and the mechanics, the way it works itself out. That's what I meant. The subterfuge. You know what that means? Absolutely. Anyway, so here we are in this era of talking, letting the fans possibly drive the matchmakers to recognize the value of putting two good fighters together in the same ring at the same time.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Because we do see them in the same ring a lot, calling each other out, but then they never seem to be dressed in, boxing gloves and trunks,
Absolutely. They're great when they call them up, one out of the stand.
Oh, remember how tough Canelo Alvarez was with Triple G? We don't F around. I'll fight him right now. And then the next day, who? No, we can't fight him.
You know what? His shorts would have changed colors if Triple G went in the dressing room and came out in shorts.
I think if he climbed into the ring, they would have changed colors, man. But
it's
crazy
funny.
stuff.
But you know what? It's part of the fanfare, part of the whole mechanics of let's get a fight on the radar. And then let's let this fight gel and get the feedback. Let's see how it simmers with the fans, and if it's going to be a payday that we could all count on. So that's what I meant by the part of the minutia, all that needs to be tested, almost like a political ploy. Just let's get this going. Let's heat it up. Let's see what we could do to make it happen. Let's choose the venue. Let's choose the conditions of the fight, absent Mayweather. Oh, did I say that name again? Sorry.
Yeah,
and
that name.
let's get these two guys to rumble inside the ring. And by the time that all comes through, settles itself and pans out, it's 6 months to a year. And
if we're lucky, it's 6 months.
If we're lucky.
If we're lucky.
I mean, look at they were talking about the M guy with the Pacquiao for 6 years, 5 years before it happened. And you know what? That fight was about 3 to 5 years too late.
Oh, I know. It was 5 years too late. But
yeah,
Kovalev Ward, it's going to be interesting. A lot of people have anointed Andre Ward as the number one pound-for-pound fighter. Not me personally. Not that I don't think he's a great fighter, because for years I felt he should have been pound for pound number one over that other guy I'm never mentioning again, based on the level of opposition that he fought. But then he had that long layoff, and just because he comes back, you don't automatically put him at that spot. You can't. You got to be active, and I'm sorry, the last two fights he's had does not justify the accolades that he's getting. I'm not discrediting his skill or his ability, because he clearly displays that. But I think that it's going to come in perspective when he steps in the ring November 19th against Sergey Kovalev. And if Ward handles Kovalev, I for one, will have to lead the charge to put Andre Ward number one pound for pound on everyone's list, because I think he would clearly prove it. The other thing I like about this fight, Sal, is the fact that these guys are fighting each other, something that a lot of fighters today don't do. They avoid it, like Deontay Wilder. And I don't really get into. I don't like reading comments and stuff that I pick up, on our social media accounts or in our YouTube, but I couldn't help but notice a comment, and it went something along the lines of, after yesterday's show, and by the way, I'll give a shout out to my dream girl, Hallie Zaley. She was Haley Zaley. I'm sorry. I can't even pronounce my dream girl's first name. But she wanted to thank you and myself, Sal, for talking about the belt situation with the Zale family and the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So, we have a young fan was justifying the fact that Deontay Wilder was fighting Chris Arreola, and the excuses that he made was that, well, what do you want? He has fought top-ranked let me rephrase it, WBC top-ranked fighters. He can't fight the guys we suggested, a la Ortiz and Lucas Brown, etc., because they have other mandatories and stuff. So he's fighting the next best. And by the way, it's a stay busy fight. So and I'm saying to myself, man, here's the problem. You and I and a lot of our listener base, we're talking about the sport and we have a tendency to talk too much about how it used to be and everything else. But now it's pretty obvious to me, Sal, that the younger fans, the younger generation, have fallen for the smokescreen that the sport and the sanctioning bodies have spewed. They've drank the Kool-Aid. They have drunken the Kool-Aid, and they. I need you to start throwing me. You got to throw me some words. And they're accepting the way the business is run. How do you put? I just want to know, and I got an email to read, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. But I just want to know, how do you put a guy, a fighter, how do you say that this guy is the best, and then understand and accept all of the reasons why he doesn't fight the other guys that are considered the best, and in a sense, the division between one sanctioning body and another. They have their own value. I mean, it's like we joke about what Boom Boom Mancini said. As far as he's concerned, there's one world. There should be one world title. Well, nowadays it seems that the fans are accepting multiple world titles, multiple contenders in each sanctioning body. I mean, I don't get it. What do you think,
Billy? It's a sad situation. I mean, how do boxing fans become fans and evolve? I would think, as I did as a youngster, you hear the stories, you see the rumors, you see some movies, you see fights, you see things, you hear your family talk in the parlor, and you like to start viewing and looking and see if it's something you can repeatedly glance at and take a bite onto. And you're looking at today's demographics and you're looking at what's going on. Any boxing fan that's evolving after the 70s and 80s, where they were maybe too young. Let's say they were born in 1990. By the time they're 8 years old, 10 years old, they're starting to pay attention to things. It's also the year 2000. So we're talking about fans that do not know, haven't had a reference point, haven't had a benchmark to compare the realities of the game as they were when it was a different game. So what they're given, they bite onto, and they don't miss what they don't know because they never had it. Well, I like that. They don't miss what they don't know because they never had it. I like that.
That's a good one. But I just think that the acceptance, it's almost like they've become complacent. I don't know, and it's a shame, but it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is, and we get to look forward to some big fights like the one coming up in November, Kovalev against Ward, and also FYI, speaking of your hero turned chicken, Saul Canelo Alvarez, he is scheduled to fight in September against a TBA, and both of these fight cards are pay-per-view. So Kovalev Ward obviously is worth it. But Canelo better find somebody, and there are rumors that
I'm here.
There are some rumors that Triple G and Team Canelo are still talking. So hey, we might get a double surprise. But in any event, hey, everybody that's watching and listening, don't forget Sal and I are going to be doing a special pre and post fight show next weekend for the Thurman Porter fight. We're also going to watch and give you our thoughts on the Anthony Joshua versus Dominic Brazil fight. It's going to be all coming at you live from Sal's facility down in St. Simon. So if you want some information to come and join us, drop me an email, billy@talkinboxing. That's TALKINBOXING.com. I got an email from my man Mitch. He says, I got another email for you, Billy. See? He says, I know it's only marijuana, but what kind of message is Team Wilder and Al Heyman sending by criticizing the hell out of Povetkin and then immediately fighting a two-time offender of boxing's drug policy? Now, he's saying marijuana because Chris Arreola is a two-time marijuana drug offender for boxing. He says, I know it's not a performance-enhancing drug, but to me it sends a weird message. So if you lose, meaning Wilder, if he loses to Chris Arreola and then he's popped for the indica, meaning Arreola, do you blame it on the reason that you lost the fight? The whole thing about weed is kind of, especially with athletes, to me, Sal, is kind of stupid because it really isn't going to enhance it. To put marijuana in the same discussion as a performance-enhancing drug, I don't see it. I don't see somebody that smokes pot and then tries to perform on a professional level in any sport, let alone boxing. It isn't enhancing anything. So no. I don't see it. But I get Mitch's point. Are they going to make an excuse if he loses the fight and then Arreola tests positive again for the weed? Listen, I said it yesterday, and I think you agreed with me that it just seemed that there was a sigh of relief from Team Wilder when Povetkin, that fight got put on hold. And I think by picking Chris Arreola is pretty indicative of that.
I agree with you. And I think that, there should be no signs of any drugs, illegal or any kind of mind-altering drug or performance-enhancing drug found in any fighter or any athlete on this level. I mean, what are we going to do? Look at where we are as a reference and then change the yardsticks every time we have somebody test positive? I mean, they should start two divisions, one drug enhanced and one or recreational, and one just clean as a whistle. Yeah, but that, go for clean as a whistle.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is? Some of the clean as a whistle guys will try to cheat. And getting off the boxing for a second, there was a football player yesterday from the Ravens that was cut because he's outspoken about the NFL should be allowing marijuana to be used as pain management. And, they wanted to distance themselves from that because obviously marijuana is not an allowed substance in the NFL. But he brought up some interesting points that a lot of players, former players specifically, agree with him on. And one of them is that they get assigned or prescribed from doctors opiates to help with their pain management. And most of them have admitted, the percentage was staggering, 70% of the people that were prescribed, the football players that were prescribed opiates to help pain management, said that they abused them after the prescribed amounts, that they would have to take more to battle the pain. And long-term effects, addiction and everything else come from that. And they've proven that it doesn't from the weed. So I don't know, man. It's a tough situation. Hey, phone lines are open. What's your thoughts on anything today? 845-228-8710. Sal, last night, NBA Finals, the Cavaliers hold off the Warriors. Well, they beat them up pretty good. 115-101 to tie the NBA championship series at 3 games apiece. They're forcing Game 7. LeBron James, 41 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists to lead the Cavs. And Steph Curry, who got ejected in the game, 30 points, 2 points, and an assist for the Warriors. Game 7 is on Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. You know, they all said that it wasn't gonna go to 7 games, especially after it started, and now it did, right?
Absolutely, and it's going to be a war that Sunday night. We'll have it probably live at the restaurant showing on my TV.
That sounds good. Major League Baseball. We got some scores with the Major League Baseball. I think did I hang up on you, Sal? I think I might have.
I got it. You put me on mute.
Oh,
Hello.
Okay. No, I got you.
You got me. You got me. I said, where did I go? I went to the no zone area.
Yeah, I don't know where you are now. I can't even see
Friday.
you. I can't even see you on that.
I know. What are we gonna do about that?
But at least you're on.
About Mick.
At least you're on. You know. But in Major League Baseball, yesterday. What we got is the Braves topped the Reds 7-2. The Mariners beat the Rays 6-4. The Rangers 5-1 over the A's. The Blue Jays 13. The Phillies 2. The Orioles 5. The Red Sox 1. The Yankees 4. The Twins 1. The Tigers 10. The Royals 4. Brewers 8. Dodgers 6. The Nationals keep winning 8-5 over the Padres. And my Metsies, they beat the Pirates 6-4. Bartolo Colon gets his 6th win. He's now 6-3 with a 3.01 ERA. This is a guy that's 42 years old. The funny thing about this game, Sal, was that the Mets were up 6-0 going into the 8th inning, and the Pirates made it interesting and scored 4 runs in the 8th and 9th inning to get it close, but the Mets held on to win. So that's what took place in Major League Baseball. Sal, on the line with us right now, we got, I believe, Joel from Westchester. Right, Joel?
What's up, buddy? What's up, Sal?
Joel, good morning. How are you?
Good. I want to say, I got to say first, Billy, I have a legitimate excuse this time for not coming down for your special event for Thurman Porter because I'm going. I can't say
That's
I
right.
can't say that I can't come this time.
That's
I have a
right.
reason.
That's right. You got a good one this time. We might call you for a ringside report. I mean,
I'm happy I don't know when you'll be back the following week because I know you might have to drive back, but I'm happy to email you or call in and let you know what I thought, and I'm going to try to. I wrote to Lou DiBella on Twitter, because he's the promoter of the event, even though it's Al Heyman, and he said the first bell was 7:10. Now, I thought that seemed kind of late to me because there's so many fights. There's only 2 fights on TV. How could you start at 7:10 unless you're going to run a lot of these 4, 6, 8-round fights after 11 o'clock is over? I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Well, the televised the Porter Thurman fight is probably scheduled to go on, I think, at 10 p.m. Eastern, and they'll probably show. The co-main event that'll probably kick off around 9. So that makes sense to me, Joel, because
it does?
Yes, they'll start the undercard at 7. They'll have a couple of swing bouts ready in case some of those ones end early. So then after the main event, they'll probably have another fight or 2 for the live audience. So yeah, that sounds about right. When you get a nationally televised event like this, usually the first fight, especially CBS primetime, the broadcast starts at 9. So yeah, that makes sense to me, man. That makes sense.
I gotta say, you started off the show about the Andre Ward and Kovalev. I think you asked Sal about why it's so difficult to make these things. I think the problem is that these guys are, they become so big. And it takes, their ego becomes big as well, and it's, I want this demand. It should be so easy to make big fights. But I guess there's so much money on the line, and I want these gloves, and I want, fight here, no, you're not going to fight there. It's just, it's a shame. It's a shame that, we have to wait so long for such big fights. I'm probably going to order Kovalev Ward, but I'm hoping that main events and, Rock Nation can put on a solid undercard. Maybe get Curtis Stevens back on there, something, something good. I want to see a good undercard, too. I enjoyed the Canelo Khan undercard, and, I mean, not to get off topic, but I think that a lot of these guys today, especially Andre Ward, they become divas, and they want, they want things their way, not just the money, but they want, where the fight is, the gloves, the ring, how big the ring is, all that stupid stuff.
There's no bigger diva in the sport of boxing than Andre Ward. Sal, let me ask you a question real quick. Aside from trying to negotiate purse money, so putting the money aside, did you ever get in a situation where you were arguing about the brand of gloves and what color trunks and whose name was going to be first on the bill, on the promotion? I mean, this is all the kind of stuff that Joel is talking about.
I know, and it's so funny. Basically, at the time, back in the late 1900s, we fought whatever the promoter. I mean, I could tell you some bootleg fights. I fought with 4-ounce Mexican gloves. I could tell you. I wouldn't tell you the promoter who let us do that. 4-ounce Mexican gloves. I still have them because it was unbelievable. I just said, oh boy, and both of us were cut to ribbons, by the way. And then one time I had thrown on me in another fight down south, 12-ounce gloves instead of a regulated. And these were fights that were a little bit less than showcased, small club fights when I started out. But however, yeah, we never had a choice. I mean, we were given mostly Toughwear or Everlast, and then a few of the Mexican brands came up. But we never chose which ones we liked better. Although I did like some of the Toughwear gloves. We fought with other brands. Everlast was a decent glove at the time, but no, we never had a choice of a matter.
Yeah,
never.
it's
we never could choose between, well, are we going to have it filled with sponge or horsehair? That kind of stuff. I preferred the horsehair. The sponge I'd always either break my knuckles or hurt them, whatever the heck. But hey, if I could choose now and go back, I'd do a lot of the things different. You know that.
Sal, they don't use horsehair anymore. They use regular padding. Okay, so no horsehair. No horsehair.
Would PETA get involved with that?
No. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe they would.
Whoa,
They're using horsehair illegally.
Wait. When did they stop?
Hey, I want to stop seeing bald horses around here. Forget about boxing. I don't want to see that. I mean, it's bad enough what they do to the sheep. Don't mention. Hey, I'll tell you. Hey, Joel, I'm going to hang up on you because I do not want to mention that name on this show ever again. All right, so I do not, and I am not kidding. I am not kidding. I have not. To me, I will not. I do not want to discuss him ever again on this show in any way, shape, or form. So. If you can reword your question, that's fine. But his name, not on my show.
All right, didn't that guy who fought Maidana? I remember that seriously, and because I'm kind of back in Sal up here. Didn't he not want Maidana to wear gloves because they were horsehair? I'm being serious. I thought they still used it.
No,
because he said, "I don't know, you're not using it. I don't want it." And they were saying because he's a puncher and he was gonna. He could hurt that guy.
That situation, he was bringing in. Madonna was bringing in a specific model of a brand glove that was not accepted, which was all BS. All right, it's just another. But horsehair is not used. But it was just another. I don't even want to say just another shim sham scam from that individual. So, but anyway, what else is on your mind, Joel?
I just want to also touch base real quick. 2 issues. Who do you think Canelo would fight in September? Because I know that Liam Smith was offered that fight supposedly, and I mean he's a good fighter. Granted, we watched him back in October against John Thompson, and we knocked him out, and he fought a couple guys, but. If he comes, let's just say somebody like his level comes to America and fights Canelo on HBO pay-per-view for his version of the 154 title, I don't think that's pay-per-view worthy. I mean, I can understand things like Postal. I don't know if I read just the other day because I was unaware of Postal and Crawford is pay-per-view because HBO only has a certain budget that they get guys on twice a year. They're fighters. They have a lot of fighters. Bob Arum said, and they get on twice a year, and they don't have any room for them, so that's pay-per-view. And, I hope that fight does well. I don't know if I'm going to order it, but for, like he says, if he does 100,000 buys, that he'll be happy. But back to the point is, I don't know, who do you think Canelo would fight that the fans would order and that is pay-per-view worthy in September?
First of all, boxing suffered dearly because of pay-per-view. And the greed factor from the promoters to, go to that model because of their ability to make more money is what really screwed up boxing for a long time. We do happen to have boxing on regular television, or at least what we call regular television today, including channels like, ESPN and Bounce, etc. Even though you need cable to get them or a satellite, but thank God they're on television and they're not like pay-per-view. I think that this is just an example. And HBO, I feel pretty bad the fact that HBO is not even coming close to competing with Showtime this year with putting on regular events, non-pay-per-view. I personally don't think that fight was worthy of it. And it's not that it's not worthy, because you have two guys that theoretically should be pay-per-view fighters, but they're not, because nobody knows who they are. That's my point. And if they can only do 100,000 buys, that's greed written all over it. I mean, these types of pay-per-views should be saved for the huge fights that are going to do 500,000 buys or more. That should be a pay-per-view level fight. All the other ones should be, Showtime, HBO, or another network. That's my opinion. I think they needed to make that fight, but they also need to, build up these guys, not their resumes, but their, profiles. So people, their marketability. Their marketability.
Value.
Yeah, that's it. Their value, because that's the problem, and they're rushing them to judgment. It's the same scenario that we have. We have either or. We're either, rushing a fighter like these two guys into a pay-per-view, or we're cultivating other fights that, should happen, and we wait 5 years before they happen. And just to get back to the other point that you made about Saul Canelo Alvarez, as far as I know, he's still a middleweight. If he fights Liam Smith, who's a junior middleweight, I mean, a pay-per-view, to me, I think he'll get more criticism. Remember something.
Of course.
Triple G's a guy that can make the 155-pound weight on the weigh-in and then weigh 180 for the fight the next day. So, if he fights Liam Smith is going to be clearly a smaller. It's going to be another Amir Khan type of a thing. I don't want to see. I don't want to especially pay for.
I'm just happy that Triple G.
I don't want to especially pay for a fight that is going to be one-sided and you have a bully beating up, especially on a pay-per-view. I don't think it's worth it.
I agree. I think I like Triple G's mentality. I'm going to fight. What did he say? September or October? I think he said September.
September 17th. Canelo. September 17th.
Yeah, with or without Canelo. I mean, that's the way it should be. I like that. He may not get a good opponent, but he's keeping busy. And what really gets me angry now, Billy, is how with the Spanish translator after he beat Khan. I told why is in Mexico, and he says, why is Triple G in the ring? Oh, I brought him in here. We don't F around. And you're getting wow, okay, the fight's coming, and now he gets rid of the belt, and and then Cotto says Canelo did the right thing. He shouldn't have to be forced to. I think it's such crap. I love Cotto, but that comment got me angry when he said he agreed with.
Cotto had a different scenario. Cotto's argument was he was kind of pissed off because he didn't want to pay the sanctioning fees. Canelo just didn't want to fight him. And, he said all of that stuff. Sal and I were talking about that earlier. I think Triple G will I think he's going to end up fighting Billy Joe Saunders. That's who I think. One of them will. if Canelo can land, Billy Joe Saunders, he'll probably fight him for his title. That makes more sense. But hey, Joel, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. And
Sal, have a good weekend. Billy, you have a good weekend. Thanks for your time. And so you said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you'll be doing a show probably, and then you'll be going to drive down to Sal's the end of the week.
You got it, my man.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you for your time. I'll listen to the rest of the show, and again, enjoy your weekend. Thanks you so much.
Brother.
Joel,
take care.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Sal, Joel, makes some great points.
He does.
It's going to be interesting. Something that, I wasn't even thinking, but I'm wondering if Canelo is going to go back down and campaign at the 154-pound level. That's pretty interesting. But, hey, phone line is open. Anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, opinions, give us a call, 845-228-8710. And, by the way, that's for the live show that's going on right now. I know some people that listen to this show later on in the day, and we get these calls, but we ain't here. We're here now, So if you're listening live, give us a call, 845-228-8710. Hey, yesterday we were talking about, or actually it was earlier in the week when we were talking about that proposed insurance, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I remember we touched that subject.
There's something that flew under my radar, and
Uh-oh.
I feel a little embarrassed that I didn't catch this, but my man, David Berlin, who was the executive director of the New York State Athletic Commission, who was brought in not too long ago, a few years ago, who really, in my opinion, I mean, the guy had his rules and regulations. He's similar to Larry Hazard. I mean, he sticks to the rules and regulations, but as long as you followed him, he was an extremely fair guy. He was ousted. As the executive director, and a lot of it has to do with the Mago Abdulzamov situation. And apparently now Abdulzamov's attorney are moving forward with their lawsuit, and they're questioning and challenging the New York State, in addition to the commission, of how they're handling this situation, and what if any new developments have come with their so-called investigation that's been going on since 2013. It seems pretty strange to me. And the other part of it is David Berlin was replaced. The new acting executive director happens to be a guy by the name of Eric Bentley, who's just a baby. This guy is a young guy. He started off in the sport not too long ago, at least for the commission, doing medicals. He was promoted to the, the right-hand man to the executive director. Now he's sitting in the controller's seat, and I'm starting to think, Sal, that boxing in New York under your idol Andrew Cuomo is gonna end up being tossed under the carpet, because the bottom line is Andrew Cuomo, and I'm saying this, I'm a New Yorker, he don't know shit. I'll say it on the air. He don't know shit about boxing, and he's trying to play like Mr. He wants to do right and protect. I think he's ruining the sport. New York had its own problems already with the sport of boxing. I don't think it's looking good for our state, man, for my state anyway.
No, it's not. And you know what? It's just like you were suggesting, politics as usual, according to one's own agenda and not what's good for the game and good for the people, actually. And, I can understand always taking into consideration the well-being and the medical needs necessary to be provided for the situation. But when you taint or try to make the sport political, and you're using it for your own agenda, and not the fighters or not the fans and not the promoters who have stolen the sport, it's a tough thing to pan out. It really is.
Well, David Berlin is an attorney, and he's an extremely intelligent guy. like I said, I felt he was fair and everything else. And the reason why I'm starting to really point the finger at Andrew Cuomo is David Berlin, which, by the way, wasn't even informed. I mean, he gets ousted, and he submitted a letter, which is actually included in the Abdulzamov's attorney's challenge, his official challenge. His name is Paul Edelstein. That's the attorney that has issued the complaint and is leading the lawsuit against New York State and the New York State Athletic Commission. David Berlin had said that that the state had said that they would conclude their investigation of this, long before Berlin was done. I mean, Berlin was only in the job since I believe 2014. I think he came in after the incident happened, and part of the letter said that a quote from the letter said, "A mindset that leads the government to suppress would assure to be negative findings about the commission." In other words, he's saying that the New York State he's saying that New York State and the New York State Athletic Commission is dragging their feet with these findings because it isn't going to make them look good. And that's typical Andrew Cuomo. He's always trying to look good. Man, I tell you, these last couple of shows, here we are talking about Andrew Cuomo destroying boxing in New York. We're talking about Ed Brophy and the International Boxing Hall of Fame and his family business up there, trying to have Barney Fife lead the Canastota Police Department and trying to find the stolen Tony Zale and Carmen Basilio belts. I mean, what the hell is going on in this sport, brother?
I don't know, but maybe we should invite these guys to call in and talk about it and explain a little bit to us. That would be great. Let's get Andrew Cuomo or his staff member to call in.
Listen, Andrew Cuomo is such a we were talking when Joel called in before, and I said that Andre Ward is the biggest diva in boxing. Well, Andrew Cuomo is the biggest diva on the planet. I mean, this is a guy that I've witnessed myself. Walking up to a door, and he's got all his cronies around him, and he'll walk to a door and stand there and wait for somebody to open the door for him. I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't have people dropping rose petals in front of him as he walks. I mean, this guy's got an ego bigger than Teddy Atlas. Teddy Atlas looks like he's a shy guy next to Andrew Cuomo.
At least Atlas has the name. Atlas.
This is true.
I'll tell you what. Andrew, probably that silver spoon is, it's hard to swallow.
He's joking on it. Mark my words, Andrew Cuomo will be running for president in the next election. You watch. Not this one, obviously, but quickly, we got a pretty slow weekend coming up, but there are some fights on network television. NBC, Andres Fonfara is taking on Joe Smith. I know we talked a little bit before we went on air about this fight. Fonfara is a tough Polish fighter who's been in there tough with several fights, and a lot of people regard him as a quality light heavyweight, and he's in there with a young fighter out of New York, Joe Smith Jr., who's been demonstrating that he's got some skill. He hasn't really been tested. He's following the typical path of most young fighters today, Sal, being hand-fed cupcakes and stuff, although his last two fights were against decent opposition, and he does possess punching power, and he does fight aggressively. I think he's a live underdog in this fight. What do you think?
Well, based on what you were just saying, and I've read and researched a little bit on him, I hope Joe Smith shows a good performance. And, it could be a very good fight. The one that has been a little bit under the radar, but it might be able to evolve to be a real good fight between these two guys. I was making a comment. I see that Fonfara, he's got a record of about 28 wins, 3 defeats, no losses. And he lost to the now champions Stevenson, right? How do you say his first name? What was that?
Adonis.
Yeah.
Adonis
Stevenson. Back in May of 2014.
The biggest ducker of all, Stevenson.
Absolutely. And then since May of 2014, in my mathematical mind, that's about a little over 2 years. But he has won 3 fights since. That means he has fought 3 times since that date of May.
Oh yeah,
Unbelievable.
He's been busy.
He's been busy. We give him the busiest fighter award.
He's gonna give
Damn.
We got to give him the busy fighter award. Yeah, I mean that's it is what it is, and
He did beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. though, right?
yeah, he
Yeah.
did, and
Who's not his daddy?
no, but
Yeah.
he's a wasted talent because he does possess, in my opinion, some good body work. But you think who do you think is going to win? You think Fonfara is going to come out on top, or you think Joe Smith has a shot?
Well, you know what? I like the underdog. I mean, I like to root for the young underdog because here's my thought with that. Here's a Joe Smith from New York, and he's at a pinnacle point of his career, and this can make him rise into the top light. And if he does a good job against Fanfara and rises to the occasion and pulls an upset, I think it could be good for him in the future of his career. So
this is typically how fighters get their shot. They get coddled, they get hand-fed cupcake after cupcake after cupcake, and then they get that first real fight. Now, obviously, Fonfara is the best opponent that Joe Smith has will have ever gotten into the ring with. And should he get by Joe Smith, the problem with that procedure of how they do this course is that he's going to be immediately in the mix with fighting that upper echelon light heavyweight. And, I just don't think that trainers, managers, promoters are giving their fighters, like Joe Smith, an opportunity to not only win. I mean, listen, this sport, Sal, anybody can win at any given time. So should he win, does he have and has he had the experience and the preparation of higher caliber fighters to even become relative or relevant in the light heavyweight division? Should he upset Fonfara?
that's a great point. And here's the package as we're going to see it delivered. Yes, a lot of fighters are coddled today. They're protected. They're given bait fish to build a record, to get some experience. If they're learning in the gym, if they're sparring, and if they get tested in periods or spots during their fight in their career, let's say he's given this opportunity as he has been presented, and he rises to the occasion. Well, let's open up the package and reveal and see what's inside. If Joe Smith could beat Fonfara, and he's going to put himself on that next level, that next world-class stage, is he the fighter that can sustain and can prove that he belongs there? This is his opportunity. He's either going to make it or break it. And this is going to be a pinnacle move. And like I said, if this guy's a young, hungry fighter that has been... And this is the mentality, mindset of a fighter, including myself. If you are knowing where you are in the game and knowing what you possess in your heart, in your mind, that you want to be a professional, you want to be the best out there, you rise to the occasion, you know what's going on in your own career, you know what's going on with your management team. This is my shot. I'm given this opportunity. I'm going to take it on a silver platter, and I'm going to show everybody what I possess and what I can do right now, because this is my time to shine, not just be an opponent for some other guy. So that's what we're going to see. It's the mettle. It's in the heart. It's in the mind. It's in the physical skills and the mental toughness. That's what a fighter is all about.
Well, my point is that working hard in the gym is a gimme. Sparring is a gimme. But working hard in the gym and beating up on a heavy bag and beating up on sparring partners is not the same as fighting real fights.
No, it's not. Not even close.
So the fighters that are being overprotected for these opportunities, and my man coach, who's close to Joe Smith, just let us know that he's making a decent payday, a little less than $100,000, which to me, promoters and managers, they look at that, they look at their percentage, and they roll the dice. They built up Joe Smith for this opportunity. They're in a win-win situation. They, meaning all the people around Joe Smith. Now, Joe Smith wins this fight. He's, in a sense, in the same position Andres Fonfara was several years ago, where he was brought up and then all of a sudden got a high-profile fight, and then he became, this guy. But he's not a world champion, and he's still not making the money he should be making. I'm talking about Fonfara.
Yeah.
And Joe Smith, should he get this win, he's going to be in the pool with the big boys, and I just don't think that he has been given the opportunity. I'm not blaming it on Joe Smith. I'm blaming it on his team, that he hasn't been given the opportunity to get better and to bring the ammunition with him as he gets into this next level. It's like me saying, all right, Sal, you hit all the targets, so here's the gun, go out there and shoot, and then, you're halfway on the mission, and you say, wait a minute, I got the gun, but I got no bullets, and that's the analogy I have, and then the fans say, he was exposed. He had one lucky fight. He beat Fonfara. He was exposed after his next fight, I mean, it's terrible. I think, not only do I complain about, the cherry-picked fights and these fighters not being tested early on, they're not giving their own fighters a chance. It's not helping them by handing them cupcakes fight after fight after fight.
No, it's not. It's not. But like I said, you have the opportunity in your course of your career to gain the confidence and some of the experience, and whether he's had his bell rung in a fight up to this time, and he knows how to survive it, to weather it, or whether he's just in a position where he knows if he hurts his opponent how to finish him off. After 21 fights or victories that he's had, I'm sure he's gotten a taste or he's got something. But a champion, a potential fighter, a potential world-class fighter who wants to evolve to be a champion, does have that fighter's heart and mentality and mindset, whether he's being protected or what, that can prevail and can say, hey, this is my end goal. This is the occasion I'm rising to right now, and this is what's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to in this case, but I'm going to say Joe Smith has this opportunity, and he's going to go from a club fighter status to world class if he could do what he's saying he can, and he could give a good fight, give a good performance, and pull an upset and beat him. And Fonfara, we'll see what he does too. I mean, he's been in the ring a little bit with some people here, and he's capable of being in a position to get another shot or something, but. Let's see what happens. This could be a decent fight, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it's good. I do. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to boil down to Joe Smith's chin, which hasn't been really tested. I mean, he's been in, with some. He's got pop. He's got punching power, but so does Fonfara, and I think it's going to boil down to Joe Smith's defense and his chin. And if he can last, it's going to be good. There's another fight that's happening on the same card. Erickson Lubin against Daniel Sandoval. Now, Lubin is a guy, I believe, Sal, that you were with me when we called the fights for the Florida State Golden Gloves finals a couple of years ago. Erickson Lubin was one of the fighters that was there. And,
I recognize the name.
Yeah, he fought and he turned pro, and he's had a very successful career. He was... he's been moving up in a similar situation. He's been protected, and now he's being touted as, a legitimate contender. And he's stepping in with Daniel Sandoval, who's going to be the toughest opponent that he faced in his young career. So this is going to be another test on that card, as well as the co-main event. Juan Carlos Payano is taking on former Olympian Rasheed Warren. Rasheed Warren is a fighter that at times shows that he's possesses a lot of skill as well. And I think there's actually, on paper, these three fights are going to be pretty good. I think the favorites will win, but I think they're going to be pretty good to watch.
Oh, I think so. I think it will be a good fight to watch. And I like to see what he's looking like and what he's evolving to. And like anything else, he's given us opportunity. Let's see if he rises to the occasion.
Yeah. There's no question about that. Sal, I'm really looking forward to next week. We're going to have a great time at your place, but more importantly, I think all the boxing fans, whether they are new or old boxing fans, will enjoy the two fights that we're primarily looking forward to. First, coming out of England, Anthony Joshua makes a defense of his title against Dominic Brazil, who's a highly touted fighter here in the States, who I've seen fight. He shows some promise. I see a lot of holes. I personally don't think he's going to fare too well against Anthony Joshua, but he will pose some type of threat for Anthony Joshua. He's a big guy. He's got a chin. I've seen him get pummeled. I've seen him get dropped. I've seen him get up. He does have some pop. I think the big question with Brazil is the conditioning. But Anthony Joshua, he's been down before. This is going to be an interesting fight. I think that Anthony Joshua, even though he's a world champion, he's still developing, which I can't stand because I think fighters that become champions, we shouldn't use that term, still developing. But Anthony Joshua could only get better, I hope.
I think Anthony Joshua's got a brilliant career ahead of him. And yes, he's still developing. But what we've seen from him so far is a well-conditioned, great fighter who's got a lot of the attributes, a lot of what he needs to keep this title for himself. And he's got a heart of a champion. And I like him. He trains hard. He's in there. He's a fighter. He makes the fight happen. He's a big guy. He's strong. I've also seen Brazil. Dominic Brazil is a tough guy. I've seen him get dropped and come back. Who did he fight that time I watched? Was it Mansour or something like that?
Yeah, Mansour.
Yeah, he fought Mansour. I think put him down. I thought Brazil was going to be out.
I didn't know. I was shocked that Brazil. He was dropped a couple of times in that fight.
He was dropped. I know. So okay, I give him kudos and credits. He did what a fighter does. He stands up, he collects himself, and he says, "Hey, buddy, I'm not out yet. You're going to have to do something more." And he came back and he stopped Mansour too.
Yeah. No, I mean.
So I like that.
No. Remember, Mansour cut his. That was the fight where he put his bit through his tongue, and
yes, he did.
And his corner was all pissed off at him for stopping. And I'm saying to myself, man, this guy obviously can. That's when the corners get too tough for their fighters, But
he speaks with forked tongue now.
Yeah, now he's like a snake. But the thing now is the big fight that I'm really looking forward to next week. Of course, is the Sean Porter Keith Thurman fight. Listen, I would be shocked if this fight doesn't live up to the expectation. What I love about this fight, aside from the delay because of Keith Thurman's injury, what this fight gives us is two young fighters in the same weight class. Now, people might be listening and saying, "What are you talking about?" But a lot of times today, Sal, a fighter will force his opponent to move up in weight to fight him. So he's getting the edge. Again, like we were talking about before when we had Joel call in, like we're talking about before with, getting the edge, having the edge. I want my gloves. I want this guy to come up. I want to be bigger. I want to be stronger. There's no more even playing field. Porter and Thurman are fighting on an even playing field. They're both around the same age. They both have the same level of opposition pretty much. And they're both in the same weight division, and it's an extremely important fight. I can't wait to get down there and eat the pizza and watch the fights. I can't.
We're going to be folding and eating that pizza.
I was trying to think of how I could.
A great fight. I'm so excited about this fight. This fight is going to be a very good fight. And I'll tell you what, Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. I'm glad they are getting in the ring, and this is going to be. I think a fight that I'm going to ask you before the fight who you're going to pick. But I know these guys aren't going to be waltzing and dancing around the ring looking for each other.
I'll tell you right now who I'm going to pick. I already know who I'm going to pick, and I'll go on. I'll go on record right now. I'm picking. We lost him. No. Wait, we lost him. The show's over. I am picking Sean Porter to win the fight, and I think that Keith Thurman. I don't get me wrong. I love Keith Thurman, and I actually think that Keith Thurman possesses the better boxing skill overall. But Keith Thurman has become a safety first fighter, and I think that Sean Porter is going to press the action like he always does. Sean Porter has become proficient cutting off the ring. He's a little wild at times. Thurman has the boxing ability to pick him off. But I think the safety first mentality that Keith Thurman has developed is going to be in Sean Porter's favor. I'm predicting Sean Porter to win the fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Porter knocks him out. How about that?
Wow, you know what? I can't have agreed with you any further anymore. That's exactly what I see. It's exactly what I feel. I think Sean Porter is going to be, as we know, aggressive. He's going to be coming at him. He's going to be not backing up. He's got the experience. He knows he could weather a storm. And Keith Thurman is a good boxer and has a pop too. But I just think, that safety first mentality, mindset is always in the back of a fighter's mind. And when push comes to shove or the fight meets the flight, let's see what happens. So it's a great fight. I mean, I'm just so excited. And I wish both fighters great luck, and I will be happy with one of them, either one of them winning, let alone a draw. But I want to see a good fight, and but I think when all said and done, I'm picking also your guy too. So we're gonna see it. I think Keith Thurman's gonna do a good fight, but I pick Sean Porter.
Well, I'm looking forward to eating 5-6 pizzas. I'm looking forward to seeing my man Max and all your gorgeous waitresses at your place, and have the bonus of watching a couple of really good fights. And you can catch Sal and myself doing. Actually, we're gonna watch the Anthony Joshua fight. Then we're gonna come on live and do a pre-fight show, which will give you guys our thoughts on the Porter Thurman fight and our thoughts on what would have taken place already with the Anthony Joshua fight, and then immediately following the official announcement of the winner of the Porter Thurman fight, we will be coming on air with a post-fight show, and hopefully we will have our phone system in place. You guys will be able to watch all of this live on LDL TV and on the Talking Boxing with Billy C Ustream channel. So the best bet is to go to www.ldltv.com next week and get the information. Hey, Sal, we got the trivia question from yesterday, and it was who was the first man to hold the WBC, WBA, and IBF belts simultaneously? Now, when I asked this question, you gave a hint, whether you realized it or not. You said, well, it has to be in the 80s because Sal knew that the IBF belt didn't exist until the 80s, which he was 100% correct. Now, we got a lot of response on this and a lot of great answers, too. But the first correct answer goes to Kent from San Francisco. He knew that the first man fighter to hold the WBC, WBA, and IBF belts simultaneously was the marvelous one. Marvelous Marvin Hagler held all three of those belts.
That is so apropos. And you know what? I can remember seeing in my mind right now the press photos of Marvelous Marvin Hagler draping all three belts around his body and his neck and his waist and everything else. And that's right. That comes to reality right there and there. Marvelous Marvin Hagler was the first fighter to ever wear those three belts. Yeah, and it's so appropriate because he was a warrior.
Nowadays,
and he was great.
Nowadays, a fighter that's 10-0 comes walking out to the ring. They have 15 guys carrying all the belts he's already got at 10-0. But anyway, congratulations to my man Kent. I am going to send him a JKJ boxing magazine, and maybe I'll throw some collector cards in there as well. So congratulations, Kent. Now we have a new.
I'll invite him down for a pizza.
Hey, he's in San Francisco, California, so everybody's always invited to have pizza at Sal's. But today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question, which is being sponsored by Sal's, Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria. Check it out, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Was provided to us by my man, Henry Haskup, who you just cannot stump with trivia. This is a tough one.
I love Henry. Henry is such a knowledgeable guy.
This is a tough one. If you can be the first one to email me the correct answer on this one, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, I'm going to send you a JKJ boxing magazine, and as an added bonus, we're going to throw in a JKJ Boxing Ring Card Girl calendar. It's actually an 18-month calendar, and it's signed. We got it signed by two of the girls, and who are the two girls? The same two girls that you saw on Showtime during the Ruslan Prodanikov fight. They were the two ring card girls wearing the Tecate outfits. They are in this calendar, and they both signed the calendar. So whoever can get this one right will get a copy of the magazine and the calendar that they were selling at the Turning Stone last weekend. So a good price, trust me. So if you email me first, Billy at Talkin' Boxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you've in the price. Prize is. All right, here's the question. Which boxer had the fewest pro bouts under his belt after meeting 5 world champions? Obviously, former world champions. Which boxer had the fewest pro bouts under his belt after having met 5 world champions? If you know this answer, and you're the first one to email me, Billy at Talkin' Boxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win a copy of the latest JKJ Boxing magazine and the JKJ Boxing Ring Card Girl 18-month calendar. Which boxer had the fewest pro bouts under his belt after having met 5 former world champions? Good luck to everybody on that one. That's a tough one, Sal.
That's a tough one, but I'm going to go on the hook here and say it had to be a fighter after the 76 Olympics, meaning like it's a 30-year window, I know, but maybe more. But
well, here,
there
Sal.
had to be some. I know. Well, now what? Mike Leon Spinks fought Ali in his 7th or his 8th pro fight. 7th pro fight. That's right. And he became.
Was he? Wait a minute. Maybe it was. He was either 7-1 or 6. I think it was 6.
I think he was 6. I think it was his 7th pro fight where he outpointed and defeated Muhammad Ali for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, you got me thinking.
Of course, Ali beat him strongly in good fashion, rose to the occasion, came back and showed what a champion and a championship's heart is all about when they had the rematch.
Listen, my opinion from the minute that the first fight ended until the second fight is I always thought, and no disrespect to the great one who's no longer with us, I always thought that fight was kind of a setup to let Ali be the first heavyweight to win and lose and regain the world heavyweight title 3 times, which he did do against Spinks. But anyway, Sal's answer is actually, I'm glad he said it because he just gave everyone a hint. So I'm going to answer Sal. Sal said it had to be someone after the 76 Olympics, and I'm going to say right now to everyone that's going to try to email me, Billy at Talkin' Boxing, the correct answer is that Sal is wrong. It is not someone after the 76 Olympics. It's someone way earlier. That's my hint. So we're going to move on.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. No. Hey, Sal is helping you guys out.
Process of elimination.
And I'll tell you what you got to do is start to figure out how I'm going to bring some of the pizza home with me. We got it. We
can do that.
I got it on my mind. But this day in boxing history, June 17th in the year 2000, Sugar Shane Mosley. Now this is amazing because Sugar Shane Mosley just recently fought. Now we're talking 2016 we're in, right? Sugar Shane Mosley fought, and we were saying, he's a shell of himself and everything else. Well, on this day back in 2000, 16 years ago, Sugar Shane Mosley already outside of what I thought was his greatest weight class when he fought at lightweight, he on this day in 2000, Sugar Shane wins a 12-round decision over Oscar De La Hoya to win the WBC World Welterweight title. It took place in Los Angeles, California on this day 16 years ago. On this day in 2005, Levander Johnson knocks out Stefano Zoff to win the vacant IBF World Lightweight title. It took place in Milan, Italy, a place that you and I would love to go. On this day in the year 2000, Jose Luis Castillo wins a 12-round decision over Stevie Johnston to win the WBC World Lightweight title. It took place at the Bell Gardens in California. On this day in 1938, Sal Senecola was born. Oh, no. On this day in 1938, Leo Rodak wins a 15-round decision over Jackie Wilson to win the vacant Maryland world featherweight title took place in Baltimore. And yeah, they used to do that. There was a lot of states that had their own world titles. So we complain about all the title belts today. There was several belts out back in the day as well. Not as many as today. But on this day in 1989, Nico Thomas wins a 12-round decision over Samuth Sinthavarapal to win the IBF World Strawweight title, and that took place in Johara. And on this day, in 1954, one of the best ever, Rocky Marciano wins a 15-round decision over Ezra Charles to retain his world heavyweight title, and that took place at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. And this is one of those fights that if would have taken place today, would have been stopped because Rocky Marciano's nose was flopping on his face like it was pretty disgusting. They would have clearly waved off this fight, and they didn't back then, and he got to retain his title. So that's what happened on this day in boxing history. Hey Sal, before we pack it in, any final thoughts, my man?
You know, it's so funny. I remember earlier in the show today, you were talking about the influence of televised fights and how you were thinking about how the big mega fights should be reserved for pay-per-view. And, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that's pretty much how it was. We had the showcase fights you could always find on Wide World of Sports, ABC, or CBS, Boxing World with CBS or so. You saw these fights, world title fights. Every week there was something and showcased, and it was great. And then they started evolving where some of these big fight names and big fighters and title fights were available on HBO. So HBO became a priority to showcase these fights. Then popped up Showtime. But still, the big mega fights was always reserved for the pay-per-view when that became available. And you know what? It's a shame because that's exactly what we should look at. The pay-per-view being for the mega title fight that we all wait for. It's just a reflection back of what it was like years ago versus today.
I got a trivia question for you, Sal. Do you know what the very first HBO, basically HBO the company, HBO Sports, what the very first fight they did was?
Oh boy, I want to say.
You know,
Sugar
Sal,
Ray Leonard.
You know, Sal, my aunt had an HBO. You know, you mind if you mind if I just take a look at that right there for one second? It'll only take a second.
Columbo, listen to me. Listen to me.
Actually, the very first HBO championship, which I don't even know if they called it HBO at the time, happened to have been the Muhammad Ali and George Foreman fight.
Wow.
That was the very first, that was still considered closed circuit, but it was produced by HBO Championship Boxing. And then everything fell into place after that. And if you think about it and you go back in time, because remember, cable was in its infancy, even in the early 80s. I still was watching closed circuit fights, at Buddy's house on the illegal boxes that you used to get, and
those days.
Yeah, those were the days. But
absolutely.
Anyway, Sal, great show as usual. We'll pack it in. Enjoy the fights this weekend, and I will look forward to chatting with you next week. A programming note for everybody: we will be doing live shows next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I hit the road to St. Simon's, and then you guys are going to be tuning in on Saturday to check out Sal and myself talking about the big fights before them and after them, coming live from Sal's facility.
We'll be eating and reading live from Sal's neighborhood pizzeria.
Geez, I hope the weather's going to be nice down there. But
I think it is. Bring
shorts.
I don't know. It's hot. It's hot.
It's going to be. It's going to be 90. It's going to be 90 here over the weekend. So.
We've already had some high humidity days, close to 100. And, just a reflection back, I remember when I had this brilliant idea to move down the state of Georgia. And I mentioned it to my now ex-wife. And she said to me, Sal, don't you think it's going to be a little hot for us in Georgia? I said, hey, let me tell you something. It's not going to be any hotter than any heat wave we've lived through up here in Jersey. Well, what I forgot to take into consideration, that heat wave lasts from May to September.
Right. Well, I'll tell you one thing I will admit about St. Simon's. I love the heat there, and when I'm talking about heat, there's a lot of hot-looking women in St. Simon's, and I love coming there. I love coming there for Sal's food and the women. But anyway, Sal, it was great as usual, and to everybody out there, make sure you tune in on Monday morning, same bat time, same bat channel, to listen to Sal and myself's thoughts on the fights from this weekend and all that's happening in the sport of boxing. We'll see you then. Until then, what do I like to say, Sal?
Ciao, baby.
That's right, but I say it a little better than you. Until then, ciao, baby.
You guys take care. Thank you so much, Bill.